Just want to let y'all notice that fresh grease. About to drop these Pigford Seafood mullets by way of Mount Olive, North Carolina. Y'all know I was a pescatarian for a year. And I tell you what, man, I went before and I should have continued to patronize a brother. But now that I'm back on, I'm not leaving, man. So I'm about to drop this first one. How big these mullets are. I mean, this is a pretty big pan. And this how we doing this thing, man. Can only put in one at a time. Well, I'm gonna say two. Make sure your grease is real good. Put them in the opposite direction. My grandma always used to make me stand by the stove to make sure I didn't jump when the grease started popping. So we're gonna let these things sit here for a good minute. Look at that pretty oil. Matter of fact, I'm gonna come over here. It's the Polak kitchen. We used to call it the hood kitchen, but we do good things in this kitchen now. But I have the plug on this big thing of oil. $15. $15 for a 5 gallon. Can't let you know all my secrets. We're gonna go back over here to this mullets. We cut the fire down probably about the 7. Grease already hot enough. We're gonna look at these things. See how they look on this one side. They're still doing okay. Like them fresh out the grease. We'll kick it up to about 8. I always like to have them good and crispy. One more left. Okay, I know this is kind of boring sitting here just watching grease sizzle. At this time, I'm gonna flip them over. You know how Auntie Fee would always talk, do a lot of cursing. I'm not gonna do the cursing, but I'm gonna show you how these bad boys look when I flip them. Oh, isn't that pretty? They said you can't put more than 2 in a pan at a time. They're so big. Let me go ahead and get a plate and get them prepped up. The drain in. Get one of these purple plates. Everything in here is color coordinated. Get some paper towel. Fold it a couple times. They're so large, I mean, I just want to do it like that. But they're still sizzling. You see in the backdrop, the Popeyes. I'm going to tell you, man. Had to go back again and get some more of that Popeyes. That chicken sandwich is the truth. But don't let that be a discouraging factor of going to the vote, to the polls to vote. Because I did project that this will be somewhat like a conspiracy as an experiment to see how people went into the Popeyes in droves and waiting in long lines for a sandwich, but not casting their vote on election day. And coincidentally, the sandwich just made its reappearance on Sunday of the weekend before election day, which is Tuesday. So don't be misled by the antics used by the government to create a way of pulling people away from the polls on election day. I beseech that everyone goes to the polls and not allow a $4 sandwich to deter them from making a conscious decision for voting for their local government. Everybody's always concerned about the federal election, the national election in 2020 or whatever the year may be. But the municipal elections are the most important elections because they are the bottom elections, and you cannot start from the top to the bottom. You have to build a foundation from the bottom to the top. So right about now, let me see how the back side of these mullets look. You always start from the meat side and then flip over to the skin, the flesh side, to get the skin good and crispy. And then flip them back over for about a couple more seconds. I'm going to say about a minute back on the meat side, and then you'll have the crispiest mullets you ever want to eat. Somebody might say, well, look at those fins, they look burnt. Nah, that's perfect. If I were cooking in a cast iron pot, they would be cooked too fast. I think that's about enough time. We're gonna flip them over, gonna drip them, drain them. And I just love chewing all those dorsal fins and the skin. Okay, man, that's pretty. I mean, that's pretty. I'm gonna flip this one. Okay. I really prefer cooking in peanut oil, but I think this is a blended or canola, which the grease cooks a lot faster. And this is the last one. Make sure I dredge it into. I mean, these things are colossal. Like, you'll not waste your money going down there. Nothing small about these. So this is the last sea mullet. And it's okay to recycle your flour. I always place my container. Make sure I put it back in the refrigerator where it stays at a good climate. Always clean, wipe everything down. Cleanliness is next to godliness. That being said, I put it back in the refrigerator. But let's watch how this one goes. It won't take as long as the first two. By the way, look at these things, man. Look at the back side. The skin, it's crispy. I wish you were in this kitchen to look at these. Since the grease is already hot, we don't need as much time on this one. So we're gonna kind of move it around, make sure it's not in the same position. But that will cause scorching. A couple condiments that a lot of people like is the malt vinegar. Heinz malt vinegar is a good condiment for that. I personally like the Frank's Red Hot. Used to use Tabasco, but I feel that when you use some seasonings and some flours, that certain hot sauces don't really have a good matrimony with the flour that's used. So I prefer the thicker hot sauce, the Frank's.